wants to be king!
Welcome to the War Room. Today, I'm making this video at the same time that I'm trying to finish up a project, so I'm gonna be a little bit preoccupied. But nonetheless, we're gonna knock this out. We're gonna make it relatively quick. And we're gonna talk about words, the power of words, and the idea that words can be harmful, and in particular, that words can be deemed as violence. And one of the main reasons why I'm talking about this is there are a couple of things. The biggest one is the social change that's being forced upon America and in our children. And this latest Dave Chappelle thing with these Optimus Primes trying to cancel Dave for telling jokes and citing violence as the reason for their anger, angst, and fear. You know, that's a really delicate subject in our country because we've let really weak people start dictating how we move, how we talk, what we say, what we're allowed to think. And I was having a conversation over the weekend with a friend of mine who's a teacher, and she was saying, you know, she was speaking about this narrative, and I challenged that words don't cause anybody any harm. Saying a word to someone isn't harmful. And I know a lot of people are gonna say, whoa, man, you know, if you say this or that, blah, 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 you can have all these different examples. But one of the things that I've come to realize in my life, and embracing this has helped me navigate the world, is unless somebody actually does something to me, unless somebody actually engages me physically, nothing that they do does anything to me. Nothing that they say to me has any meaning that I don't allow it to have. And I gave the example, you know, when I was a younger, dumb, young dude, if somebody would have called me the N-word, that was automatically, it was the bell, because that's the way that I was programmed. I was programmed to believe that that's what it was. And when I was a younger dummy, it was your mama jokes. If, you know, that was, somebody said something about your mom, it was an automatic trigger. But as I've gotten older and realized that that's just a word, and then compared it to the fact that as Black people, we say that to each other all the time as a term of endearment, or whatever the psychological reason is that we use it, you know, it's a word, it's just a word. And the intent in which somebody uses that word, again, unless they're doing something to you physically, all that is it's meant to take away any move. It's a chess move, it's a checkmate. And historically in American society, you know, being called the N-word, that was just the most demeaning thing that, you know, that's just the most demeaning thing. That's just the worst. It's the worst thing, but it's not. The worst thing is being strung up by a tree or being caught on fire while you're still alive, or any of the myriad of things that have actually happened in our culture. And we've become so sensitive to words that now telling jokes is deemed violence, dangerous, and reason for a man's livelihood to be taken away. A man's livelihood which creates more joy for people than it causes harm to weak, fragile people. And this is the example that I gave to my teacher friend to illustrate what I'm talking about. Words have no meaning other than the meaning that the listener attaches to it. Somebody can say something to you, they can call you something, they can say words to you, but unless you give value to those words, they're meaningless. And the example that I gave was, if you went to Japan and you didn't know how to speak Japanese, and a Japanese person walked up to you and told you some, you know, some karate shit, if they told you completely off in Japanese, the only way that you would know that you might be getting checked is their inflection on their words. And those people always sound like they're checking you. So if a person came up and told you, told you the worst thing that they could possibly say to you in Japanese, you'll probably just look at them and smile and be like, I don't know what you're saying, man. You can do that to a person who comes up and charges you up and you understand it. If somebody comes up to me and says something outlandish to me, they can say whatever they want to. We can have a verbal sparring match there. They can say whatever they want to. And the only way that they're gonna hit me is if they speak a truth. And that's the problem that we have in our culture, is you can't tell anybody the truth anymore. They attach shaming to it, when the person who's carrying out these actions should feel shame in what they're doing. And that's the crazy part. The difference in the way things are today, the way that they've twisted words and used things that used to have one meaning, now they have another meaning. When I was a kid, that was something that we used to say to one another whenever we caught each other doing something that we should feel shamed about. That's what we used to, that was a common phrase. I know you shame, man. Basically, it was, man, I know you fucked that up. I know you're wrong. But now, when you talk about shaming, it's basically saying, listen, don't make me look at my fault. Don't make me look where I failed. Don't do that. Don't cause me to grow as a person. Let me stay a stunted retard. And that's what that is. And so we've got this culture where people can't have a conversation because the feelings, oh my God, that word you said hurt my feelings. If you're a man listening to this rhetoric here, most likely, hopefully, you're not in that space. But the chances are that there is something that somebody can say to you that will automatically trigger you, no matter whether it's something to do with your ethnicity, your financial bracket, your height, the size of your piece, whatever it is. There's something that somebody can say to you that puts you over the edge because it causes you to judge yourself. What I challenge people to do is this. Instead of lashing out and silencing the voice that tries to show you where there's chinks in your armor, instead of getting angry about it, analyze your anger. One of the things that I tell the guys that come into my program, into my space, whenever they tell me a story about somebody did something and they had to react, my question is, why did that person get to maneuver you? And as men, we grow up in this fake macho society where you got to automatically go to this end setting, when, in my opinion, a real man doesn't have to go to that. To me, when you go straight to trying to go from the shoulders straight to trying to start a fight with someone, usually that's somebody that doesn't really know how to fight, doesn't know how to manage their emotions, or they're just uncivilized. They have no home training, and that person's off the leash anyway. But oftentimes, when you run into those types of people that are off the leash, if you can not meet their energy, not match their animal energy, and challenge them to think about what's going on, a lot of times you can tame that beast, because nobody's ever tried to throw a cage around those animals. I experienced that several times in the penitentiary. When I was in the penitentiary, there came a time for me and another dude, where it was time to toe the line. And before we bang, before we put our freedom in jeopardy over whatever it was, whatever trivial bullshit it was, I challenged those dudes to think about it. Before we do this, you might whoop me, I might whoop you. But think about that, man. Think about that. When the bell rings, this ain't gonna stop until they stop us or one of us is done. You really want to get like that, or you want to work this out? And most of the time, 8 out of 10 times, that's a conversation and it's squashed as men. But most of the time, those dudes are only wired to react immediately off of their emotions. They don't know how to deal with words. They don't know how to deal with somebody ruffling that internal little boy. And that's when you want to go straight to that. To me, what a man does is tries to navigate those waters without firing the cannons. And only a man who knows that he's got the ability to fire the cannons with accuracy and precision that gives you the comfort and the confidence to be able to enter into those spaces. Nobody's words cause pain to you. Nobody's words cause you to do anything. It's your interpretation of what they're saying. It's your belief system about what that person is saying to you that causes your feelings. Your reaction to what they're saying is up to you. It's not the words, it's your reaction, it's your feelings. And most of the time, if you analyze it, if you peel that onion, you're gonna find out that the reason why you got all emotional is because those words spoke a lot of truth to the lies that you tell yourself. So stop giving people power over you, over the things that they say, and stop allowing people to crush the voice of truth when that truth is what needs to be heard. Out.